So one of the common injuries experienced by athletes is sprain.
So what is the definition of a sprain?
A sprain is caused by torn fibers in a ligament, and swelling and bruising are some signs and symptoms. Sir, may I go out? As educators, we know the importance of what we are teaching. Ngunit, subalit datapwat, but the students may not necessarily aware of this. So it's up to you to teach them how to do something and why they do something. So the question is, how do we motivate the learners to realize that what we teach them will be useful to them? So paano? How do we inspire them to think out of the box and solve problems creatively? How? How do we as educators find ways to show students that what they are learning has value and meaning and can be applied to real world? Paano? So we can do this with the help of PBL or problem-based learning.
Yes. Let me show you how it is done.
So what is problem-based learning? Problem-based learning, or PBL for short, is an educational approach that's collaborative and built around solving a complex real-life problem or scenario that you might come across in a professional setting. The PBL process was pioneered by Barrows and Tamblyn at the medical school program at McMaster University in Hamilton in the 1960s. Traditional medical education disenchanted students who perceived the vast amount of material presented in the first 3 years of medical school as having little relevance to the practice of medicine and clinically based medicine. The PBL curriculum was developed in order to stimulate learning by allowing students to see the relevance and application to future roles. In traditional classroom setup, the teacher would be the center of instruction and guidance. The teacher will stand in front of a big group of students and gives a lecture. Then the students will listen, understand, and try to remember everything that the teacher is saying. Everything. While in PBL, the students are the center and the role of the teacher changes to a facilitator, tutor, or cognitive coach. So sir, ano na lang gagawin ng teacher? Pwede na siyang mag-iwan na lang ng activities tapos umalis na lang siya ganun. Well, obviously, hindi mo pwede iwan ng estudyante mo kasi mapapagalitan ka ng department head mo then mapupunta ka sa principal's office. Since you are already a facilitator, you're just going to facilitate. So ano nga bang role ng isang facilitator? It is the teacher's role to guide exploration, provide feedback, and create a classroom environment that will encourage collaboration. Most importantly, the teacher must encourage students to think for themselves and to become self-directed learners. Now, to summarize the topic, I have here the main features of PBL pedagogy. It is problem-focused because the content and skills to be learned are organized around the problems rather than as giving a list of topics. The users begin to learn by addressing simulations of an authentic, ill-structured problem. So the best example for simulations activity is role-playing. As I said a while ago, PBL is learner-centered, where the learners actively creates their own knowledge. It is also self-directed, since the learners individually and collaboratively assume responsibility for generating learning processes through self-assessment and peer assessment. So definitely it is a combination of individual and group activities. Next, self-reflective, where the learners monitor their understanding and learn to adjust strategies for learning. Tutors are facilitators, like the teacher, who help and support reasoning processes, facilitate group process, and interpersonal dynamics and never interject content or provide direct answers to questions. So addition to this, like as in a public school, we are handling about 60 to 70 students. As a facilitator, we need to make sure that all students are participating actively in our activities. Kasi syempre, sa dami ng estudyante na yun, meron tayong mga estudyante dyan na pabuhat.
Dumbbell! Dumbbell!
That is why we need to make sure that all students receive equal amount of loads or equal amount of tasks, especially in doing group activities. Now, let's go back to our classroom and tingnan natin kung ano nga ba yung dapat na ginawa ni teacher. Okay, class. So, let's say that we are going to watch the upcoming basketball league this summer. Basketball? And I want you
basketball daw.
to list the common injuries encountered when playing basketball.